Well, I'm joined with Miss Rachel Cruze. How are you doing, Rachel?
Doing great, doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great. Well, I got to ask this question because it is the number one question. Every time we're together, Rachel, that people want me to ask you, it never gets old, Rachel. Your dad is Dave Ramsey. So, what's it like working with your dad every day?
I know I get that question. I get that question a lot. And I mean, honestly, on the work side, I'll be honest, I don't really see him very often. I mean, we have
Huh.
1,000 team members here
Yeah.
at Ramsey Solutions. So like unless we're doing the radio show together or maybe a meeting on a Monday that we have like with our operating board.
Hmm.
Other than that, honestly, I don't see him. I spend a lot of time like in the basement of the building on this first floor where all the studios are. And so I don't see him a ton on a daily basis, but it is so it's been really fun to share
Hmm.
a common passion, even with all the Ramses, even though not my brother and sister aren't forward facing in the company.
Yeah.
But to be able to be on mission together as a family is really unique and a gift for sure.
Well, I got to tell you, we are in the Christmas season, and what I love about your dad's story is that I mean, God really does take him from bankruptcy to where you guys are at now, and you were along for some of that ride, Rachel. And so the reason why I love asking you that question is to get a glimpse, to give people a glimpse. Here's what can happen if you get it right. If we buckle down financially and do the right thing. And so I got to ask you for this Christmas season, man, why do you think we're always addressing this issue, Rachel, of financial stewardship during the Christmas season?
Well, this is one season on record of dollar amounts that consumers spend,
Yeah.
and we spend and we spend and we spend, and the heightened marketing plays that companies have, the heightened expectation of family members, maybe even your own kids
Yeah.
have around Christmas and what they're going to get.
Hmm.
It's just high. So while it is the giving season, which is beautiful in its own right, man, it can get tangled up with consumerism and this idea that we really do play into other people's expectations of what Christmas is, and so much so that we put our own selves in a financial hole and go into debt for it. So 1 out of 3 Americans I read just this weekend are going to go into debt for this Christmas, and it's even up from 2020. So 2020, people weren't together spending the holidays,
Yeah.
sadly, because of the pandemic. But now not only are they getting together in person, but also this cooped up feeling that we've had for 18 months. Now people are just like, okay, so debt in general, especially credit card debt, is just increasing, that we're seeing month after month. And
Hmm.
so it's a thing for sure that's going around right now.
All right. So one of the things I love about spending time with you is that you're very practical. And so I got to ask this question here. How do people lower the bar, Rachel? Like, what's a way to lower the expectations, but still enjoy this great season, though? What advice do you give?
I would say two things. Number one, communication. We kind of just mentioned about the expectations of other people, and I was even talking to someone, and they just said, "Well, my family's going to expect this, so we just feel like we have to do it." And I'm like, communicate. If you have a
Mm.
Christmas this year that you're like, man, we just don't have the money to spend, because maybe you're getting out of debt or saving up for an emergency fund, or maybe you've lost your job and you're now
Yeah.
having to recoup, with 3 other jobs to make ends meet. Communicate and say that. We put a lot of pressure and even shame into that subject of just saying, hey, we're going to press pause a little bit or go less than what we usually do for Christmas. There's no shame in that. And so communicate that, whether that's with your
Mm.
kids, whether that's with extended family, and you don't have to give them all the details in the world, but just have the expectation and communicate, hey, here's what our Christmas looks like. And then I would say number two, remember last Christmas.
Mm.
What'd you get? Probably
Most of
don't
us can't even
remember.
remember, Rachel. Isn't that interesting?
No,
Most of us
exactly.
can't remember
Exactly.
what that was. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So just from, the idea that, that stuff is going to make everything better and stuff and make my kids happy and they're going to be better kids, we're going to be a closer family. Like, all of that's a lie. It's a
Right.
lie. I'm not against stuff. I'm not against presents. I think it's fun. But when we think that it's going to be the antidote or it's going to be the medicine that's going to help something in our family dynamic, it's not. It's just
Mm.
stuff. So just going back and realizing, yeah, you probably don't remember what you got last Christmas, and neither do I.
Gotcha. What budget should people set up, Rachel, in going into this holiday season? And of course, it's always one of those things which you guys at Ramsey Solutions always go back to over and over again, budget, budget, budget. So how do you do a Christmas budget, Rachel?
So with your Christmas budget, you want to figure out the amount of money that you have to spend on Christmas. And I would even encourage go beyond gift giving. So maybe it's all the gifts that you're going to spend or all the people you're going to buy for, but also think, hey, am I hosting, a Christmas party and I'm going to have to buy paper plates and plastic forks?
Include that too, Rachel. Wow. So you're saying
would, yes.
Go beyond this. Okay. Gotcha.
Go beyond the gifts. You can keep it simple, just gifts, so that makes you feel comfortable. But I like to say, hey, Christmas as a whole, here's what this is going to look like, especially, late November, December mostly. And then you're going to put dollar amounts next to everyone's name that you're going to buy a gift for each occasion that you have, and put dollar amounts. And the goal is that amount of money you want to spend for Christmas minus everything on that paper equals zero. And this plan, it gives you a sense of power and control. So you're not flopping around and then you come, January, get the bill and you're like, oh man, I'm not happy with my December me. I was really in the moment. The budget, it gives you guardrails, it gives you facts to stay within, and you can enjoy it so much more.
When you have that guardrail, you really can, Rachel, is what you're saying here, which is so true. Rachel, this question came up, and and I know what Ramsey Solutions thinks about this before I even ask it, but the payday loans. What advice would you give to folks who are saying, I'm going to go out and get a payday loan to take care of Christmas? What advice would you give, Rachel, to this one?
Stay away. Stay away. It's a bad idea. So remember, not only are you going into debt for something that no one's going to remember in probably even 4 months, but number two, you look at the math on it and the interest rates, the fees, everything attached to that type of industry is disgusting. It's terrible. What they charge people when it comes to payday loans or even online loans. I mean, all of this. I just heard a story even this morning, 110% interest on a loan that a guy took out.
Wow.
And so they just feed on people's desperation.
I can't even imagine that, Rachel, 110%. Can you imagine that? I can't even, as you're saying, I'm going, whoa, what does that even look like? Wow.
And I think, yes. And what's hard about that is you can look at the facts on paper like we're talking right now, and you hear the number and it's like, that's crazy. But people in a situation when they're desperate and they think, I'm not gonna be able to pay my bills, or you do things because your emotions are driving you. And that's why I like things like a budget or different parts of this process, because you want facts. My friend, Dr. John Zoloni, says, facts are your friends. Focus on the facts. When your emotions are driving, you make really poor financial decisions. And that's not just out of desperation, but that's fear. During the pandemic, people were pulling out their money from their 401ks, all of it. It's like, no, but the fear, the emotion is driving people. So you can't let your emotions lead. You have to lead with facts.
And so do not do the payday loan at all, Rachel, is what you're saying. Like stay away, stay clear. Rachel, instead of buying gifts, what are some other practical ways that people can give back? Because I think it's one of those things, we always see the tangible and the stuff, but there are other ways to actually give back too, Rachel.
Oh, absolutely. I'm actually doing a thing today with our team. We're going downtown Nashville, and there's a great organization there with the homeless that they do with feeding. And so, I mean, it is amazing when you put yourself in situations, you may feel uncomfortable, or you may be like, oh, I don't know. Go and do it. Push in where you are uncomfortable. And if you have age appropriate kids, bring them along. And so I would say, whether it's situations like that, our church has a huge foster care push in our community. They do such a great job with foster care. So find a niche, find something, again, whether it's the homeless or it's kids in foster care or maybe single moms, like find kind of a niche that pulls at your heart that you can say, hey, I want to give to, whether it's your time and you go and serve, or maybe you are in a position that you get to write a $500 check and blow, 2 Christmases away for 2 moms. Like whatever it is, find a thing that really gets you. Because I think we all have convictions on a deep level for certain things. I think that's just part of our personality. So gravitate towards that because it makes giving that much more fun when you're enjoying it and you're passionate about it.
Isn't it amazing, Rachel, that when you give back, how much the idea of you giving to yourself and the stuff and all that kind of stuff, it all takes a back seat. And I'm glad you're doing it this afternoon. And our family's doing the same thing in a couple weeks, just to remember the real reason for the season here. Next, the last question, and I love what you guys do at Ramsey Solutions when people, I've been there a couple times, when people walk in and they are ringing the bell, paying off their debt. There's this celebration that's going on in the lobby. Can you walk the typical viewer through who may be in the midst of serious debt right now, Rachel, who maybe can't see the end? What is the feeling like when you see people who've gone through serious debt, Rachel, who get to the point where it's all paid off? What do you get to see every day?
Well, the one word we use around here a lot is freedom. I mean, there is a level of freedom that comes because getting into debt and being in debt, mathematically, sure, it takes a toll. Financially, it takes a toll, but there's a spiritual, emotional toll that it takes when you owe someone something. And the moment you become free, you know, in Proverbs, it says the borrower is slave to the lender. And there is something, a real financial bondage that we've put ourselves in as a culture and living beyond our means, that when you break free of that and you say, you know what, this stuff is not going to own me anymore. My bad money choices that maybe I've made in the past or we all have made, I'm not going to let those define me. I'm not going to continue in that. I'm going to change what I've been doing and find freedom with my money. That's what I see when I see people do their debt-free screams. There is a sense of relief, a sense of freedom, a sense of options. They have choices over their life now. There's a beautiful thing that comes with financial freedom, because I think it weaves into other parts of ourselves, like our spiritual life and our emotional life as well.
Rachel, you love your job. You can tell it every time I'm with you, interviewing you. It just kind of shines through here a little bit. What do you enjoy about it on this Christmas season? And at the same time, what do you guys do as a family that's a family tradition, if you don't mind me asking that question here?
I love that. Yes. I would say what I love, I mean, I never want this to sound cliche, but it's just true. I'm like, I love helping people. I think I've been given a unique opportunity in life, not just the family I was born into, but a true passion for this, that I'm like, you know, I don't feel like I have all the answers in the world. I won't be that prideful and say I know everything.
Right.
but there's enough there that I'm like, I can help guide people when they're in a spot that they want help. And so that's what's fun is I get to be in a job that helps change lives, and people do it, right? They're the ones doing the actions. I'm just kind of a head here on a camera, but being able to deliver that hope and that guidance is something I love so much. And a family tradition that mom and dad did with us growing up, I'll say this, later on, like you said, for years, if they're coming out of the bankruptcy and there weren't elaborate Christmases or anything. But when I was, gosh, it probably started when I was like 8th grade and into my high school years, dad would cash out, I mean, I don't want to over exaggerate, maybe $2,000, 3,000 and $100 bills. And we would drive to parts of Nashville and sit in grocery store parking lots or Kmart parking lots. And it was kind of one of those things. He was like, when the spirit prompts you and you see someone, jump out and you hand them a $100 bill. And we did that for probably 5 hours on a Saturday every Christmas for years.
Wow.
And it was, and again, it wasn't even my money I was giving, right? It was dad that brought the cash. But being able to be part of an experience of something like that is, I mean, and I still can close my eyes and picture some of those interactions I had. So I would encourage parents, bring your kids along. Mine are still little and we can do some stuff with them, but there's something about experiencing giving that is so beautiful, and to bring your kids along in that, I would just encourage people. And it may not be that, right? I know that's kind of an extreme example, but there's just something just amazing, like we said earlier, when you give and you're selfless, what that does in your soul and your spirit versus just getting. Something
takes place that's special. Well, Rachel, I wish you, and even your dad, who I love interviewing you more than your dad, by the way. Don't tell him that, by the way.
I won't. Keep that between us. No.
But I hope you have just the best Christmas season ever. And I just wish you all the best. And, you know, if your dad is ever, you know, in the mood to want to give me $100 bills, and I'm joking. I'm joking. No, I love what you guys do there, and I love interviewing you and your family, and it has been just a delight to be with you here today. So thank you so much.
Well,
I wish you the best.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. I so appreciate it.
Thank you.